So, welcome to another episode of the Dental Insiders with your hosts, Michael Dunn and Matthew Petchel. The Dental Insiders is a podcast for dentists, dental team members, and industry professionals. We'll share stories and lessons from clinicians and industry visionaries with the goal of providing an entertaining and informative look at the industry we all share. Our guest today is a man who really needs no introduction, the man with the fuzzy hair and the record album necktie, Dr. Paul Feuerstein, the one and only.
You got it.
Did we get it? So actually, let's start right there. We're going to get to the theme song that you're going to write for us. We're going to get to that in a minute. But right now, I want to talk about, did I pronounce your name right? Feuerstein?
You actually did. It's kind of a made-up name. It's in Ellis Island. My grandparents were immigrants, and it's an Ellis Island name. So the name was actually Feuerstein. And there's a big book they have at Ellis Island. They look it up, and they say, okay, that's F-E-U-E, that's your name. And they pronounce it how my father pronounced it, Feuerstein, and that's how it stays. So there are similar people. There is actually another dentist with the same name as I have. He's down in South Carolina, Paul Feuerstein. He pronounces Feuerstein. So we've been mixed. We've actually graduated at the same time from dental school. We get things mixed up on occasion. We've met each other. It's kind of funny.
The Dental Insider studio is in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we need to do a little quick trip down to South Carolina and interview the other
Dr. Paul. Dr. Paul Feuerstein.
That's right.
And then we can have them both together, and we can figure out who is the real Paul Feuerstein.
It would be a Thunderdome of Paul Feuerstein.
What was that? That was a game show.
2 men enter, 1 man leave.
Paul, what was that game show back in the 70s?
Oh boy, I don't. I got me on that one.
It was.
I can name that tune in one note.
No, it was three people. Yeah. It wasn't that one.
It wasn't that
one.
It
was three people.
We're all way off topic at this
We
point.
are off topic.
Yeah, that's okay.
But what's the worst pronunciation you've ever had for your name, Paul?
It's all over the place. I taught high school for a year before I went to dental school, and that was ridiculous. So when they had open school night, I just put a big F on the board that that's me. But actually, the most interesting thing about my name is I've gone to the IDS show, which some people don't know. It's a show in Germany every 2 years. It's a fabulous show. And the first year I went, I had my name badge that said Paul Feuerstein. And whenever I went to a company that was German, they'd point to my badge and they started laughing at me. They go, ha, ha, ha. And I was just sort of mystified. And one guy says, "Where's your friend Barney?" And I go, "Huh?" And then the guy goes, "So how's Vilma?" And it turns out that in Germany, the family Feuerstein is the Flintstones. So I bought a special tie. So when I go to IDS, I do not wear this magic tie. I wear a different tie that has Fred Flintstone on it, and everybody knows my name.
Ah. And do you know how to say yabba dabba doo in German?
I do not.
Das Flugzeug ist blau.
Really?
That is my German right there. I think
your German's better than mine.
It is not. It is my one sentence is all we got. So thanks for joining us. You are someone who Michael and I both kind of admire and look up to. You've been around for so long, and just you seem like you know so much, and your wisdom I know is going to be so valuable here. Tell us how you got started in dentistry? Was your family in dentistry, or did you fall into it?
It's a simple story. When I was a kid, my friend's father was a dentist. I liked my friend. I liked his father. I said, I think I'll be a dentist. I had no idea what it meant. I had no clue. I'd never even been to his office. And it was this kid, Paul, who wanted to be a dentist. Never knew he wanted to be a dentist. I didn't know the first thing about it. I never had a lot of dental work my own self. And it just evolved. But the crossroad in my life turned as I was growing up. My real passion is music. So I can say I'm a professional musician. I've done a lot of things. I won't get into the whole story. So my career path was actually music, but I was one of the brains in public school in New York City. And when I was going to school, it was the space race, and it was the Sputnik business. And they targeted kids with very high IQs. I probably could have been on The Big Bang Theory, I guess, at the time. And they targeted us, and they took us out of the mainstream and gave us only courses. And this is through public school, high school, and then into college, only math and science. And I never had to take English classes. I never took literature. I never took philosophy, things like that, because it was special tracking in New York City. It also shot me through school. They skipped grades. I shudder to tell you this, but I graduated college. I was 17 in my senior year.
Of college?
Doogie Howser, right in front of us.
You're the original Doogie Howser.
So, in fact, that's why I didn't go to dental school the first year. I decided to teach I wanted to take a year off, so I was just 18. So they put me into high school. I got a job as a high school science teacher. My homeroom was seniors that were my age. It was it was crazy. It was
Crazy.
just
So is that the beginning of, like, nowadays, it seems like with kids, they're pushing them into what they call STEM, right? Which is the science, technology,
yeah.
engineering, math. Did I get that right? So was it just math and science?
It was over the top. It was wrong. And number one, it was wrong because I'm not well-rounded, or I had to become well-rounded later on in life. And I had no social upbringing. I mean, I was 3 to 4 years younger than the kids in my grade. I mean, they were hitting puberty, and I was like, having my bar mitzvah,
Right.
So it was a challenge, and it got me through dental school very early. I came out very early, so I had an early start in the whole thing. So I started to say my music path. My family is actually musicians. There's nobody in medicine in my whole family, and I was tracked to take piano lessons and saxophone lessons, and I was in the band and the orchestra and did all these things here. And then in college, I found out that you could pick up girls if you played guitar, so that was the next step. Joined a band, which I still have. I'm still friendly with these guys from years and years ago, but I still wanted to be a dentist. So when I went to college, which was Stony Brook University, State University, I said they didn't have a pre-med program. So I said, well, I want to go to dental school, but I also want a concentration in music. And they go, So they gave me a chemistry major, which turned to biochemistry, physics, engineering, computer science, and music. So that was my split through college. So my actual technical degree is chemistry or biochemistry. And as most dentists who are watching this know, that was like the worst course in dental school. I was sitting in the back of the room like this and sort of fall asleep, and it was because it was like I never had taken the biology course I was supposed to take, but you catch up with those things too. But it was the music was a real piece of the puzzle for me. And not to prolong this background story, but the short story is my band got picked up in my junior year of dental school by Decca Records. And we were offered a very lucrative contract. We went to the studio, recorded a 45, which is the juxtaposition here. We actually recorded 3 sides. They hadn't picked which side was A, B, and C. And they said to me, if you quit school just for a year in your junior year of dental school, just go on tour for a year and then you'll come back. And this is the late 60s, early 70s. It was actually 1970. And looking around, I thought, I'll never come back to dental school. And it was a very real hard decision. But the push was my parents. They said, we're going to slit your throat if you leave dental school. And that was the actual end of that story. So it could have been.
So what was the hit single that you didn't get to tour on?
It was called Home Away from Home. It was I'll send it to you.
All right.
And I still have it.
Is it available for digital download, or are you going to have to send me a record player? And
it's on reel to reel, but I've digitized it.
Excellent.
Maybe we could change our little opening theme song to be a
I think we're going to get Paul to write our theme song.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe it is Home Away from Home.
Yeah, maybe, because this show feels like my home away from home.
It is definitely feeling like I'm feeling homesick
right now. Yeah. So you decided on pain of death to go back to dental school. And so, now you've got a dental practice. You're in Massachusetts now. So tell us a little bit about your practice and maybe, the operatory, how many, operatories you have, and what music you play in the waiting room.
Well, let's see. It's a complicated story. In dental school, when I was in dental school, let's go back a step. I was the school that was New Jersey Dental School at the time, which is then turned to University of New Jersey, now it's Rutgers, had a computer grant of $50,000, and then nobody knew, the whole school knew what a computer was, except me. So as an undergraduate in dental school, they said, hey, Paul, can you help us set up this computer system? So I spent a lot of my time in the dean's office, and upon graduation, they made me the assistant dean in charge of IT, which didn't even exist at the time. So I spent a little time there. That was in New Jersey, and I said, I want to be a dentist. This is not what I really want to do. And I had some friends up in Massachusetts who weren't dentists. It's just a friends of there. And I went up to Massachusetts, and I said, this is neat. Boston's kind of cool. And I went to a place called Healthco, which was a way back company.
Yeah.
And they had a list of people who were looking for dental practices. And they called me one day. This is horrible. Hey, we have great news for you. There's this doctor up in northern Massachusetts who just had a heart attack. And I said, what? That's great news? Well, yeah, because somebody Has to come and work in the practice. So anyway, I said I'll try it, and I've been there ever since. So
Wow.
he did not die, by the way.
Oh, that's good. That's the great news.
That is the good news. So it was a win-win tie.
Yeah, for everybody.
Let's call that for him.
So it evolved from a three-chair practice for the formative years to a 6-chair practice, and that was in existence until actually last year. And through some quirks, and let's just say there was a transition in my practice. I'll explain it if you want to later on. We've just moved to a brand new facility that has 8 full rooms with 2 more to go, expanded. 2 full-time dentists. The hygiene, there are 3 hygiene rooms that are often all full. We have a total staff of about 12 at this point, but we're open 12 hours a day. So it's a rotating. So I work the morning, like right this afternoon, for example, I'm not working. The associate is working this afternoon. We switch back and forth. And we've actually had a specialist in on occasion. So it's a pretty robust general practice. We take care of everything from 0 to 100 or plus. Full service. I personally am not a surgeon. I do not like surgery. That's the only part of mine. I don't do anything that evokes red blood cells is not my favorite thing. Other than that, do everything from simple sealants on to advanced restorative dentistry. I personally, at this second, and this is going to change, don't place my own implants. But as we're going to talk about with technology, it's becoming a new vista for us to take a hard look at. So that's the practice, and I must tell you that one of my staff members has been with me since 1974.
Wow.
And the other ones have been some have been in there for 20 plus years. So there's very very small turnover because I'm me, and you got what you got here, and that's the way I treat my staff, my patients. It's a fun place to work. We get things done. We're not driven. Luckily, we're not driven by the almighty dollar. We do great. We could probably do much better when the consultants come in. They go, "Oh my God, you're so inefficient. You talk to your patients too long. You're wasting so much time." I love it.
Yeah. Right. Well, some things are not improvable. Some things just kind of are what they are and they work.
Yeah.
And what works for one doesn't always work for everybody, right? So, what do you miss? Do you miss anything from the good old days, from like the beginning ages of your dentistry life?
Actually, I can't say I miss anything specifically. I think we've evolved very fast as new things come in, whether it's technological or restorative or techniques. We just keep going forward and forward and forward. So I don't really look back and say, look at my old amalgams with the beautiful carvings and how I polished them so nicely. I mean, they're still in the people's mouths and they're fine, but I don't dwell on it. I think I'm looking forward to the next best whatever. And that's why I run around to dental meetings. I tell people I have no other life I shouldn't say that. That's not fair, but in my dental life, my spare time, I don't play golf. So I go to dental meetings. That's my golf. So I go to the Chicago dental meeting. I go to the Yankee. I go to ADA. I go to California, to the IDS show, to all the major meetings. And if you remember, there was an old commercial from the Yellow Pages that said, "Let your fingers do the walking." So I say to my classes when I give the lectures, let Paul do the walking. I'll walk up and down the aisles. I'll look at the booths. I'll look at the big booths. I'll look at the small. I love to go to a booth where some guy's standing there holding something. The booth is this big, and please, somebody talk to me. And I do. And that's where I get a lot of my good information. And sometimes those little things turn into something pretty magnificent. So, and sometimes they're complete duds. So,
Yeah. The trade show hall is full of both.
Right.
Big companies and small guys.
Yeah, a lot of small companies for sure. And you've shifted gears here a little bit on us with talking about the trade shows, but that's good because you've been lecturing for years and years and years. And how has that experience of lecturing and how have those trade shows changed during the years?
Well, the physical lecturing changed. I mean, my original lectures had little index cards in my hands. I was just reading off index cards. My original lecture series was actually explaining to dentists what a 286 computer was, what a 386 computer was, what is a hard drive, what does memory mean, how do you buy a computer. It was all that hardware as the PCs were coming into dentistry. My actual first computer, in fact, was in 1978. It was this gigantic thing about the size of a washing machine. It was made by Data General. It was handmade out in Utah. And this thing must have cost over $20,000 in 1978. I was nuts. But anyway, so it evolved from lecturing about the hardware of the computers to the processes and products that embedded all these things into them, which is pretty much everything. And then it just expanded into more, into restorative dentistry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on and on and on. But the change is the venues have gotten much larger, and they've also consolidated. And a sad thing, I think, is that there's a feeling by some people that we used to have to go to the big meetings to get us CE. It was critical. And as you both know, now you can get CE virtually. You can get it pretty much anywhere. So they've lost a little bit of that charm. So the trade shows had a big drop down of attendance and people coming to the classes. And now something's happening, which is a good thing, that's coming back up. So I think the people are realizing that you can't just sit on a computer as we're sitting right now. It's much more interactive when you have a live person there talking with you. And I think there's going to be a push back the other way. Maybe not the giant meetings, the smaller meetings, the more intimate meetings, even study clubs. A lot of CE is going to happen that way. So I think that's the change I'm seeing. One of the kind of fun things about what I get is I was playing in rock bands for a long time, and I had to give it up. So I feel like now I'm still on stage. I'm still a performer. Giving a lecture is a performance. You have to rehearse. You have to study. It takes hours and hours to do 15 minutes. People don't understand that. Those slides you see popping up on the screen, it takes forever to tweak them, get them looking the certain way you want them to look, like when you're playing in a band. So that's my performance, and I'm not nervous about standing up in front of people. The one great thing that happened is my younger brother is a professional keyboard player. He also he's played all over with some very famous people. The ADA was in Las Vegas one year, and I was standing up on stage in one of the hotel, wherever it was in Las Vegas, and on the stage I called my brother. I go, "Hey Gary, I'm on stage in Las Vegas."
And he was like, "Send me a picture. Send me a selfie."
Yeah.
So I think that's the general feeling of that whole genre, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I agree. I've seen you speak. Actually, Michael and I both seen you speak, and the best key opinion leaders, I think, do treat it like it's a performance, because you never know. And I think when you're a performer, you realize that everybody who's there watching you is expecting your best, right? And even if there's only 20 of them or 30 and the place holds 100, they don't care. They don't really care about the 70 people who aren't there. They care about their time that they've just given you, and it's up to you to sort of deliver the goods, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, instead of standing, I use very little text, for example, in my lectures. And on the next slide I tell, like I'm talking with you right now, I tell stories. So if I'm talking about a new restorative material, I'll say, Jim came into my office, Matt came into my office, he broke his third molar, he had gone out for pepperoni pizza, and then we did this and we used this material and we took this image of it, blah, 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 blah. And it makes it more real, because being a practicing dentist, it helps. And I get permission from my patients, because when they come up with these crazy problems, as we all have in dentistry, I say, can I use that in my lecture? And I get permission, and I use their names, not their last names. And it's great. And people, I could see the people in the audience, and they just, yeah, I got one of those too, And I think that's very important. Instead of saying, do this, use this, it would be, if I go through, in a full day, I can go through probably 300 products. And if I just sat there and said, here's a camera, here's a thing, here's a laser, here's this, it would just be a disaster. Right. So I go off on tangents, as we're seeing right now.
Well, Paul, like all shows,
like
even
all
the best
good performers,
like all good shows, they must end.
Well, this one must end.
This one must end, but I have a feeling we're going to have an encore presentation.
I think there's going to be a part 2 to this.
And I think part 2 is going to start with Paul playing us a song.
Oh boy.
I think we might start part 2. Anyway, that wraps up part 1 with Dr. Paul Feuerstein. Please join us for part 2 on the Dental Insiders.